Okay, one last review for the evening. This is, or the night at this point. I think it's fairly late. So this is my very first magic book. This is by the great Merlini, probably not his Christian name, but How to Entertain Children with Magic You Can Do. And my dad bought this for me at my very first visit to a magic store in Irving, Texas. There was a magic store called the Magic Dragon. And the Magic Dragon was everything that you could ever hope for a magic store to be. It was crammed full of insane magic paraphernalia. It was maybe a 1,500 square foot, maybe 2,000 square foot store, but good night, it was filled with everything you can imagine. And like a lot of the apparatus behind me, like weird, every kind of die box, block vanish, block penetration, a lot of the Milson Worth stuff. I visited when I think it was spring of 1983. So I would have been around coming up on my 10th birthday. And it was amazing. It was an amazing, almost a religious experience to see all this stuff. Now, the funny thing about that is the guy that owned the store is John something or other. I got to get to know him a little bit better in later years, but he would not demonstrate anything for you like most traditional magic stores would show you a trick, show you something to entice you to buy something. John was just the opposite. He'd say, oh, no, you don't want that. You can't, no, you want this, or you know. But he would talk you out of a lot of stuff. He would steer you away from stuff he thought was above your pay grade or whatever. And he was he had signs everywhere about don't lean on the counter or whatever. There was stuff like that all over his shop telling you not to do stuff. So he was a very eccentric guy, a really nice guy if you got to know him, but very no nonsense. And that's where I got this book. My dad bought this for me, and I remember that trip very well. I got this book. I got the Famous Magician's Magic set by Adam's Magic. One of those that has all the standard cups and balls, a little ring on spring and all that kind of stuff, a little paddle trick and stuff. But I got the magic set, and I got a finger guillotine, one of the, let's see, I've lost my original. There's no telling where my original is, but it's one of these little guys that's, anyway, finger guillotine. So that was where I first saw in John's shop. The Magic Dragon had a whole selection of these little guys. There was all kinds of little finger guillotines. That was the first place I saw Tenyo magic. It was amazing, really cool stuff. But again, the John was not to be messed with and not to be irritated. If you were there to buy, it was not a library. You did not pick up a book and browse through it. So anyway, long story short, that's where I got this book. Good intro to magic. Those of you who are aspiring magicians, this is a lot of interesting material in here, a lot of good stuff that I still do today. One of the things that I still love, that I just intuitively jump to this anytime I pick up a piece of rope that's, more than about, 15, 16 inches long, I do the one-handed knot. What does he call it here? The one-handed instant knot is what he describes here. But lots of good rope magic and stuff like that in here. But yes, this was my very first magic book that I got just shy of my 10th birthday. And yes, very special to me for just that reason. I don't know if my dad inscribed it or not. Apparently he did not, which is unusual for him because he usually wrote his name or the date when I got that. So anyway, How to Entertain Children with Magic You Can Do by the great Merlini. Interesting stuff, but again, special to me mainly because it reminds me of the Magic Dragon and that magical time in 1983, my first time to darken the door of a magic store, and I was not disappointed. Let me tell you, that was something else. And if you have ever been to if you're about my age or older, and you're in the Dallas area and you're into magic, you might remember the Magic Dragon. Lots of good stuff. Later in my time as a magician, I got a full-size guillotine, stage guillotine from John. So that was a former circus prop. So yeah, lots of fascinating stuff. I wish there were some pictures kicking around somewhere of his shop, because it was a sight to behold. There was stuff crammed in there. I can only imagine some of the goodies that were crammed in there. And from what I understand, a lot of his props, a lot of his inventory wound up at Magic Etc. years later. For a while, it languished in storage after he passed away, and then I think his children worked out something with Magic Etc. And I think a lot of the remaining material is over there. So anyway, that is my very first magic book. So there you go.